Vegas for the night. Right down the road from the Strip sits the Thomas and Mack Center, where it's Golden Knights night. And the fans hoping the hockey success carries over to hoops. Basketball on CBS Sports Network brings you late night into the Mountain West, where Boise State clashes with UNLV. A look at the Mountain West standings, and this is a battle for the 5th spot in the conference. And the top 5 in the Mountain West get a bye in the first round of the conference tournament here in Vegas. Welcome courtside, Chris Lewis here with you. Urgency for the preseason favorites in the Mountain West, that's Boise State. A couple weeks ago, after a loss to Colorado State, Coach Leon Rice called it rock bottom. Since then, the team has responded. They've won 2 straight. The challenge tonight on the road against a UNLV team that has proven to be giant killers in the league. As we bring in former Gonzaga great Dan Dickow, what catches your eye in this matchup?
Well, this Boise State team has lost their last 3 on the road, but 2 of them were in the final possession of the game. So they are on the verge of exceeding those expectations, but this is a very good UNLV ball club.
Let's start on the Boise State side with the matchup of guards, and Alvaro Cardenas is the conference's assist leader for the Broncos.
Well, he's been tremendous in year 1 for Leon Rice. Scores it at nearly 12 per game, but where he's best is finding his teammates, creating opportunities for them. He leads the Mountain West, top 10 in the country assists per game. When push comes to shove, the ball will be in his hands, and more times than not, he makes the right decision.
On the UNLV side, the ball will be in the hands of their super sophomore, Denon Thomas Jr., and he's the subject of our AT&T Fast Analysis.
Well, a freshman a season ago was tremendous in making plays. As a sophomore, he is now at the top of the scouting report for opponents. He has handled it beautifully so far, leads them in scoring, leads them in assists. He is one of the best, not just in this conference, but at the country, making timely plays.
The matchup of guards highlights the night, center stage in Las Vegas. Boise State, UNLV, meeting for the 2nd time this season. The action next on CBS Sports Network. Moments from showtime in Vegas, Boise State and UNLV. Starting lineups for both teams. Keep an eye on Tyson Degenhart, Boise State's preseason player of the year in the conference, 3rd in the league in scoring. And he plays for head coach Leon Rice, who's 11 wins shy of the most ever conference wins in the Mountain West. 305 wins overall. And UNLV, Kevin Kruger trying to get his run-in Rebels to over the 500 mark. They come in 12-11. Dan Dickow, your keys to tonight's game.
We'll start with Boise State being on the road. Win the point guard battle. We touched on both Cardenas and Thomas in the open. They're tremendous. Unknown production for Boise State is important. Can Lockett, Carmichael, or Bowie, one of their 3 freshmen, make an impact tonight? For the Run Rebels, rebound. They got dominated in the first meeting and limit Degenhart, who had 21 and 11 a few weeks back in Boise.
Those 2 guards, Cardenas and Thomas. It'll be fun all night to watch those 2 go at it. Ugbo against Cherry to take the tip, and we are underway from the Thomas and Mack Center.
Both teams run lots of pick-and-roll actions to get those 2 point guards into abilities and opportunities where they can make plays for teammates.
Degenhart, Boise State's leading scorer, dragged the pivot foot. So the opening possession is a travel for Boise State.
Travel on Degenhart, who rarely makes mistakes, turns the ball over, but I like the aggressiveness. In the loss on the road at Colorado State, 20 of his 27 came in the second half. I think they're better when he's aggressive.
UNLV, they're coming in off of a loss to their rival Nevada, 71-65. Trailed by as many as 12 in the second half of that game. In it, Rishwain struggled from 3, just 2 for 8. His first 3 goes off the front of the rim. Second meeting this season between these teams, 31st overall. The Broncos comfortable win at home in the January 7th game. They've won 9 of 10 against UNLV. They hedge and trap Cardenas, who's at the top of UNLV's scouting report. as he's the one to initiate Boise State's offense. Andrew Meadow hits the deck hard, and he'll head to the line, with Rishwain picking up his first foul.
Good quick decision from Meadow on the swing. Attack the closeout, help side Rishwain. Not quite there in time. He may have got the worst of that collision, but Meadow at the line for a pair. He has been a little bit up and down as of late, but 20 points in their previous win against Fresno State. If you follow the Mountain West, doesn't look familiar right now because he got a haircut in recent weeks.
He had the long locks. It was a signature look to go along with his signature glasses as well. The goggle. I mean, what a classic look it was. Now he got the haircut, looking trim, looking sharp still, but it's just different. And if you didn't know that he got a haircut, you'd walk into the gym and say, who's that? There's the long hair that he had at the beginning of the season. A couple of weeks ago, decided that, hey, long hair, don't care.
Well, I had the game at Utah State. I walked into shoot-around, and I didn't know who number 13 was. It took me about 15 minutes. It wasn't a new player. It was simply a player who got a recent haircut.
Underneath, Jalen Hill using the pivot foot.
Great sign. Only played 7 games a season ago due to a knee injury, but when he's playing well, UNLV's at its best.
Boise State's won a couple in a row. Their last win was against Fresno State at home. Comfortable 82-60 win. Degenhardt trapped in the corner. Coach Kevin Kruger was being the third defender by the sideline. 5 to shoot. Cardenas probes towards the paint with the right hand, left side, in and out.
I like the energy on the defensive end so far for UNLV. Trapping pick and rolls, being very active on the weak side.
Excellent dime, and Jeremiah Bear Cherry gets his first 2.
Deep seal. Degenhardt couldn't get around. I don't think very many guys could get around as big as Cherry is when he really focuses in on sealing, such as on that last possession.
Meadow cut off the long arms of Jalen Hill defending. R.J. Keene, glue guy for Boise State in their starting lineup. Degenhardt rumbles down the right of the lane, and he draws the foul.
Hicks a nice job of recognizing Cherry on the deep seal. When he gets it that deep, best to concede the 2, just as Degenhardt did right there, especially when you're the leading scorer for a team such as Degenhardt is. If you know you're beat on a play, there's no point, especially early in the game like this, giving a foul, putting a little bit of pressure maybe on the other team to think, hey, I'm going to attack, try to get him in early foul trouble.
So your availability in the game is more important than allowing just that one basket early.
Yes.
Degenhardt's 81% free throw shooter, and Javen Buchanan, early sub for Leon Rice, and this is a usual rotation where Emmanuel Ugbo starts but only plays the first 2 or 3 minutes in his first stint, and then they bring in their super sub this year in Buchanan.
Yeah, he has been really good. Didn't take him long to adjust from the NAI level to the Division I. First matchup with these two teams, he was uber efficient, 12 points, 5 rebounds in only 17 minutes.
4-4. Boise State UNLV meeting for the second time. Deon Thomas, co-freshman of the year in the Mountain West a season ago. Cherry inside, count the baskets.
It'll be interesting to see who they call it on, whether Cardenas or Degenhardt. Terrific high-low look, Hill to Cherry. Again, second possession now. Cherry has done a great job of sealing that defender, being a big target.
They do get Cardenas on that foul, so the point guards first. Cherry just a 66% free throw shooter. These teams separated by a couple of games in the standings. These are teams that were 5 and 6 in the Mountain West. And the top 5 teams in the standings get a bye in the first round of the conference tournament played in this building. Cardenas left open, takes the wing 3. Over the backboard, belongs to UNLV.
I like
Cardenas trying to establish a rhythm for Boise State, but then what do you see so far?
Well, I really like the energy that UNLV has come out with, in particular on the defensive end of the floor. They've trapped pick and rolls. They've rotated early and being in the right spots. And then on the offensive end for the Running Rebels, they've clearly made it a priority to establish the interior with Cherry. If he can be a consistent threat, it'll open up the perimeter, in particular Didon Thomas with pick and rolls.
Story for UNLV this year has been the close game, specifically in conference play, as Hill misses inside. Lost 4 straight after wins against Utah State and San Diego State, but all 4 losses by 2 possessions or less. Foul along the sideline, and it's already the 3rd against UNLV. Bob Benjai, who's the big off the Running Rebels bench, and Coach Kevin Kruger.
Benjai's made some big strides in this last 6 to 8 weeks. And they really like his length to be able to guard the rim, be a rim protector, and rebound.
Andrew Meadow uses the hook shot. First field goal for Boise State. Thomas generates so much attention around the ball. Left-hand in traffic, not close. Second chance. Rishwain sidesteps.
Missed Njai.
Njai wanted it on the block, defended by the much shorter Cardenas. Shot clock at just 3. Hicks has to hurry. Examines, floats, and Cardenas grabs. Whistle on the loose ball, and the ball will stay here as Hicks hit the deck. Foul on Boise State. Tied at 6 in the early going.
College basketball on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Geico. Switch and save. Get more with Geico. And by AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Dan, I know you make a lot of Vegas trips for basketball. Have you ever been to the Sphere yet?
I have not. It's right outside my hotel room window, and you got to close those windows if you're going to fall asleep.
No question. Bright and light as you take a look at the Mountain West in the net rankings, and this is less than 6 weeks until Selection Sunday, so you start to zone in on the conference that had 6 teams in the dance a season ago.
Well, I think it's going to be a battle as it was last year. I don't see any way that 6 teams are going to make it. Most bracketologists, including our own Jerry Palm, confidently feel 2 are in, a good chance for 3. Boise State right now would be on the outside looking in, but they've got a bunch of opportunities to climb the net rankings as well as the Mountain West standings.
The curious team to me right now in the league is San Diego State. All their games, it seems like they fall behind double digits, and then they have a frantic finish, and they've been winning those games lately. But it's a team that's used to be steady and reliable, and I don't know if Brian Dutcher's team has had that characteristic yet so far.
Well, the reliability for them is that they're going to guard, regardless of opponent. That's going to keep them in a lot of games, and I think they're going to be a factor down the stretch run here in the Mountain West.
Julian Bowie into the game, the freshman from Pocatello, Idaho for Boise State. Omar Stanley in the lane, had a good game when these teams met on the 7th of January. He scored 12 points there. He draws the foul here. Pop Njai second.
Stanley, you mentioned, had a good game up in Boise, but he's been a little bit inconsistent throughout the season. Burst onto the season scene a year ago after transferring in from St. John's. I think the growth of some of the freshmen, Carmichael, Lockett, Bowie, are important for them to meet or exceed expectations, but also I think Stanley has to get to the level of play that he had a season ago.
You mentioned it. He was all-conference second team last season. He's really a featured player, especially on the defensive side. It's been a bit of a struggle, off-season foot surgery. Now coming in off the bench for Leon Rice. UNLV started 3 for 4. Since then, they've missed their last 4 from the floor. Rishwain is a shooter. Cherry's back in as Njai exited with those 2 fouls. Rishwain rose but didn't have a plan and throws it away.
Well, Hicks has to be ready to catch and shoot when he receives that pass out of the post from Cherry. To be a good shooter, obviously it takes form up top and the ability to shoot it, but much of being a good shooter also comes with your footwork and being prepared on the catch.
Jalen Bedford enters for UNLV. Buchanan has a much smaller Thomas on him down low. Shot clock at 10. Bowie picks up the dribble. Rishwain and his long arms defending. Clock down to 2. Cardenas left open. Halfway down, pops out. Meadow, second chance for Boise State. The creator, Alvaro Cardenas from Spain, draws the foul. UNLV's 5th team foul already. And Rishwain guilty of his 2nd.
Only the first offensive rebound of the evening for Boise State, which clearly is a very important deciding factor in tonight's game. That first matchup, 13 offensive rebounds for Boise State. And when you dig yourself that kind of a hole, it's difficult to climb out of.
To your point, in that game, UNLV had a season low 21 rebounds. That's it.
I think a lot of it had to do with Boise State miss. They just go get that miss for a second chance opportunity and then convert on the second chance.
1 of 2 for Cardenas. 7 of the 9 Boise State points have come from the line. Hill attacks the rotating defense. Off-balance leaner will stay with UNLV.
Good attack to the rim from Hill, not quite able to finish. It looked to me as if it should be Boise State basketball, but being that it's so early in the game, officials aren't able to take a look. Boise State not willing or needing to ask for another look.
Bedford in traffic. UNLV over 3 minutes without a point. Thomas, tough shot, chased by Bedford. Step back mid-range, around and down. Jalen Bedford, senior from Austin, Texas. And missed 6 in a row before that make. Stanley doubled on the block. Bounce pass, Meadow. Boise State just 1 for 4 from the floor. They've got to the line a whole bunch. Whistle there on the sideline. Stays on the Boise State side. The 8 free throw attempts, just 4 field goal attempts through the first 6.5 minutes for Boise State. Cardenas doubled. Bowie's the outlet. Rainbow 3 off the back rim. He's a 40% three-point shooter. There's another O-board for Boise State, one of their strengths. Meadow glides in traffic, and he will head to the line. Free throws 9 and 10.
Well, when you're not able to knock it down from the perimeter and you take a fair amount of deep jump shots, as Boise State has early in this game, recognize, track down those long rebounds, and then when defense is in scramble mode, attack a closeout. Andrew Meadow does just that, gets himself to the free throw line where he, with his aggressiveness, his size, his physicality, can make a living.
We just saw Keene come back in for Boise State wearing that mask. Suffered a broken nose against San Diego State. There you go, got the look. He in fact missed the next game, which was against UNLV, these teams' first meeting.
So Keene's one of those guys who doesn't really score it a lot. Just over a point a game, but he's so vital to what they do because defensively he's versatile. He's good on the glass for perimeter, and He's what you call a connector on the offensive end of the floor. Understands spacing, a willing ball mover, a good screener.
Thomas still looking for his first points. Nearly throws it away. Bedford with a teardrop. A couple of field goals off the bench for Jalen Bedford.
And that's what he can do. He can get hot in a hurry and really score it. At Oral Roberts, nearly 15 points a game a season ago. Been a little inconsistent, but he's got the freedom and the ability to put the ball on the deck and look for his own.
Kick ball.
Drive and kick from Thomas. Keene a little bit out of position, and a terrific job from Bedford of not over-penetrating. Too many times, smaller guards like Bedford take that extra dribble, get all the way to the rim, and now you're trying to finish over the top through the trees. That 8 to 12-foot floater. Analytically, maybe it's not looked at as the best shot, but I think it's an important shot that all guards need in their repertoire.
They used to call that the giant killer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tony Parker off 2 feet with that floater. Steve Nash, the 1-foot runner. Such important shots for smaller guards.
Reach by Bedford to take it away. UNLV steal. Baseline drive. Brooklyn Hicks cut off. This is Henley. Boise State's defense gets back in transition. Jerry muscles Dagenhartz. And a whistle. Foul on the Boise State star in the preseason player of the year in the Mountain West, Dagenhartz. Close one early on at the Thomas and Mack. CBS Sports Network's coverage of college hoops continues tomorrow, 7 Eastern. Big 12, Cincinnati head-to-head against UCF. Then we go to the Big East. DePaul hosts Villanova at 9. Taking a bigger picture look at the college hoops landscape. Jerry Palm's last 4 in, first 4 out. Yes, we're in February. We are talking bubble.
I mean, the shocking one is Indiana. I mean, they were preseason anywhere from 10 to 15, depending on the publication. They have struggled. USC, their first year in the Big Ten. Eric Musselman, he is trying to work his magic as he's done at Arkansas as well as Nevada.
We brought up Indiana. They were down big earlier on today to Wisconsin. They made it look a little bit more respectable, just a 12-point loss. Trailing early on. Brooklyn Hicks out of the timeouts. First couple off the bench for the Running Rebs, and they had the 12-11 lead. This is one of those lineups, Dan, where Tyson Dagenhart plays the 5, the center position. He dines Buchanan on the way to the rim.
That's one of the reasons when they go to this lineup, him at the 5, they at times can have an advantage on the offensive end of the floor because he obviously can score it, but he's also a good distributor in situations like that with the ball at the top.
How about on this end, though, defending Cherry?
That can be the struggle. At times, I think they miss a big like they had in Modern Armouche a season ago because you don't want to put too many reps with Dagenhart having to guard big post-up touches by guys like Cherry, putting them in foul opportunities.
Pearson Carmichael off on a 3. Boise State, the long board. Rotation to the shooter. Carmichael turns it down, loses the handle, out of bounds. UNLV getting their points so far from the interior. In fact, they haven't made a 3 yet. They have that longest active streak every game that they've played since the three-point line's been in existence. 1,249. It's them in Princeton.
Wow, Princeton.
Yes. So far, neither team has made a 3. 0 for 6 combined. That Boise State's only attempted 7 field goals in this game. They've gotten to the line 10 times already.
Well, that last possession was a microcosm for Boise State. Miss 3, get the offensive rebound, turn it over.
Cardenas running the floor. Broncos with numbers. Thomas does get back, doubles the post. Cardenas whips, has great vision. Did at San Jose State, now at a different team in the Mountain West. Carmichael, true.
That's what he needs to do. The second one where he dribbled baseline, turned it over, he could have pulled the trigger. two-time player of the year in the state of Oregon out of Bend. They really like his opportunity to become a big-time scorer in the Mountain West.
The game's first three. That's the game's second three, Jalen Bedford. And yes, the streak continues for UNLV.
Well, there's a broadcaster curse, but maybe there's a broadcaster omen as well. I'll give you credit for that one, Chris.
The reverse strings.
Yes.
Will that three to go in. Degenhart. That was touched nearly above the cylinder. No call there. But Boise State does get the follow-up with Buchanan. Tempo as this game has picked up over the last couple of minutes. Jerry drop step, too strong for Degenhart.
Again, you don't want to pick up his second foul. Play positional defense, be vertical, but Cherry just too deep a position and too big and long.
Corner three, Carmichael back of the rim. Keen grabs the rebound from the elbow. Cardenas, second chance, three opportunity. That one goes. Alvaro Cardenas at 34% from deep, and Boise State leads by 4. Thomas still has not found the scoring column. He's 0 for 5 shooting.
Got an opportunity with Buchanan with the smaller Thomas.
UNLV sent the help at the right time. Henley steals. Turns on the Jets all the way to the rim. Off the front iron. Buchanan lassos. Boise State team that's won a couple in a row. Before that, they dropped 3 of 4. Reach from behind. UNLV active defensively. Ball on the deck. Degenhart calls timeout. Boise State keeps possession. UNLV keeps their 3-point streak alive.
You want to talk about streaks? This one is still alive. Henley from deep.
(21-17). It's a 4-point Boise State lead on the road with Dan Dickow, Chris Lewis here. Now, the headline coming in was Deion Thomas Jr. for UNLV. Still scoreless, but his team still hanging in there.
He's gotten good looks. 0 of 5 from the field. I wouldn't say any of them were bad looks other than maybe one with the shot clock winding down. But you got to give Boise State a lot of credit. They have made life difficult for him. This has been a defensive battle from both teams through this first 12 minutes.
Son of a UNLV legend, Deion Thomas. One of the all-time leaders in assists at UNLV, and Deion Thomas Jr. sticks around long enough here with this UNLV group. He'll climb up that list.
Terrific get for Kevin Kruger, recruiting out of high school, Liberty High School, just south of campus here. Everybody in the country was recruiting Deion Thomas Jr. He decided to stay home. I think he's made a great decision.
He's put on a show for the Vegas faithful over the last couple of seasons. Boise State called the timeout right before the break. Degenhart misses in the interior. UNLV digs out the loose ball. They started out Mountain West play 3-0. 2-6 since, but they have a couple of the best wins that this league has. They beat Utah State. They won at San Diego State, something teams never do. As Thomas finds the scoring column.
We talked about the Tony Parker floater earlier from Bedford. That time, the Steve Nash runner from Deion Thomas Jr. But yes, you go to Viejas and you come away with a road win, you are essentially picking up, it seems, or it would seem, a game and a half on the competition, because very rarely does that happen.
Omar Stanley in for Boise State. Takes the three. It goes. He's wearing a different jersey, 24. Perhaps channeling a little Kobe there with the three-point hits.
Only his 5th 3 of the season. He's got freedom to shoot it when he's open. Just hasn't had a lot of opportunities this year to make the most of.
He's defending on the ball. Cherry gets the response at 1.
UNLV has done a nice job of mixing in dribble penetration opportunities with getting the ball on the low block to Bear Cherry. Thomas softly over the top before Cherry absolutely buries Stanley underneath the basket. At that point, if you're Stanley, you're already beat. Just let it go. Say good job, congratulations, here's your 2 points. Let's go to the other end of the floor.
Great start for Bear. Jeremiah Bear Cherry. Hasn't missed from the floor. By the way, mentioned a jersey change for Stanley. He began this game number 1 like he usually is, but got blood on that number 1 jersey. So using the emergency jersey of 24. I always wonder how many emergency jerseys teams have.
And how do they pick the number? And the size.
I'd say it might be just size. All right, you're the big, you just go get the big 24. Stanley to the rim, off front iron.
That might have been a foul on Cherry. He got away with one.
Rishwain has it connected from 3. Using the handle. What a time! Rishwain finds Cherry. And the crowd erupts at the Thomas and Mack.
Well, there was a lot of power and enthusiasm in that finish from Cherry. Holy cow.
And a dazzling move from Rishwain. A tip and a steal, Jalen Hill. Thomas bumps, contacts, and he'll have a chance to head to the line.
Normally, it's Thomas finding guys. This time, Rishwain to Cherry. What a powerful finish that absolutely brought this Thomas and Mack crowd off their feet.
Rishwain usually hangs out behind the three-point line, a catch-and-shoot guy, and he opened up the bag and showcased some moves to set up his teammates.
Rishwain, you're right. Typically is a perimeter that's trying to find open space, be available, catch-and-shoot opportunities. Had 16 against New Mexico. That was a tremendous find.
Thomas missed the first. Preseason all-conference. Lefty gets the second.
Speaking of missing a free throw, he has a free throw against New Mexico to send it into overtime. They would love to have back. You talk to their staff, he was the guy they wanted in that position.
It was a similar story against Nevada last time out, where he missed a couple of key free throws down the stretch of that one. But he is undeterred. He's shown that since the beginning of his freshman year. Step back, Rishwain! He almost got this crowd to go nuts again. Wrestling match for the rebound as Stanley hits the floor. It's a foul on UNLV. Will be the 1-and-1 for Boise State as we walk the floor.
Stanley turns the block out. Vanderby, a decent shove in the back.
I don't know if he can take another emergency jersey if he keeps being involved in these physical battles underneath. Already switched once. Of course, in fights in Vegas, used to having boxing matches, blood, and when you get blood, you gotta get somebody to clean it up. And all the fights here, Vegas is known for their cut men as well. Omar Stanley, All Mountain West second team a season ago. Back rim on the second. Dagenhart tips the rebound, but it gets it to the hands of Henley. 5 minutes to go, opening half. Thomas picked up by Cardenas. 2 of the top guards in the league. Also have to give a mention to Jonathan Denton, that top guard category in this league, plays for New Mexico. Dagenhart saves that one. Stanley thought about it. Hit his 5th three of the year earlier on. Dagenhart, dagger.
UNLV's done a really good job of limiting his opportunities. Only his third field goal attempt. They're at his, Boise State's at their best, I think, when he's aggressive to score.
Foul again underneath, this time on Boise State's.
Simply lines it up, shoots it from deep. I don't know what he was doing with his hands. Was he calling home to his parents back in Spokane?
And you've been familiar with Degenhart for a while. That Spokane connection for his time at Boise State. Thomas off front rim. By the way, that last foul was on Stanley, and that was his third personal. So Degenhart back at the 5. Buchanan way off. Six lead changes 5 times in the first half. Henley, big hop step. Meadow holds up. Fadeaway J. And there's Cardenas. His eyes always up. Nearly 7 assists per game. Degenhart down low, off glass, and will strut to the stripe for another. Boise State by 5.
Picture perfect high-low. Bowie to Degenhart. He'll be at the line to finish the three-point play when we come back.
Boise State, their largest lead of the first half at 5. Coming up on AT&T at the half, Brent Stover, Roy Hibber, Gary Parrish, John Rothstein. They're in the New York studio. They'll let you know what happened on a Tuesday in college hoops on AT&T at the half. UNLV's coach is Kevin Kruger. Dad Lon, of course, one of 4 coaches to lead 5 teams to the NCAA tournaments. And somebody that, Dan, you played for.
Yeah, tremendous coach, mostly known for his time at the college level, but I had a chance my rookie year to play for Lon. He was the only coach that at the NBA level that I played for that really cared about you as a person. I mean, and rightfully so, it's so transactional, but before the season started, he and his wife took my wife, Heather, and I out to dinner. And, you know, as a young player, tried to kind of share with me some of the things that would allow me to maybe have some success. And I to this day, appreciated that.
Yeah, and that's certainly a highlight. You don't see that much in the NBA. Retired from Oklahoma a few years back. Led 5 different teams to the NCAA tournament. Only Rick Pitino, Tubby Smith, and Steve Alford could say that they've done that. Ball out of bounds. And Coach Lon Kruger was the first of that group to do it.
And with how nice the weather was here in Las Vegas today, I'm sure he's coming straight from the golf course, too.
Boy, wasn't it nice. Refreshing. Cherry, hook shot. Got it over Degenhart, trying to avoid that second foul. Tie up underneath. This game has been physical through the first 17 minutes. Held ball, arrow, will keep it on this end.
Cherry, late recognition, shot clock's winding down. Good job from Hicks to fight to inside position. Secure that loose ball, it turn into a jump ball and possession UNLV.
UNLV has missed their last 7 from the floor. Oral Roberts transfer, Jalen Bedford. Contested 3. Hicks nowhere close.
The ball was spinning sideways coming off his hand. Great shooters. That ball was rotating almost in a perfect backwards motion.
Like that.
Yes.
Degenhart in double figures. 9 in a row for Boise State.
You mentioned I've known Degenhart for quite some time. He spends a lot of his summer in Spokane. He works out at the gym that I own, Shoot 360. Make sure his shooting mechanics are right.
Lefty drive, Bedford. What were your early impressions when you first started to see Degenhart at that high level?
Well, you knew he was talented. You knew he had size at an early age, and his fundamental base was very good. The thing that continues to impress is just his competitive nature, and he does all the little things to impact winning. To get another look at it, they try to down Cardenas to go away from the pick and roll. Weak side doesn't recognize, allowing Degenhart the open three, but a terrific response from Bedford. He's been really good tonight. 9 points here in the first half.
Feels like a big couple of minutes here before halftime for UNLV. See if they can prevent Boise State from gaining that separation before the break. Contested inside. Degenhart held up against Cherry.
I like what they're doing, though. They're trying to keep going to Cherry, who's been effective tonight. Get Boise's bigs in foul trouble.
Meadow lines up the seams, but can't get it to fall. Transition Bedford. Cherry has 11 to lead UNLV. Degenhart has 10 to pace Boise State, the conference's third leading scorer.
What a pass from Cardenas. Keene not being a shooter, not able to keep the spacing, take advantage.
Cardenas in and out. Degenhart deflects, tips it to the backcourt. Offensive rebounds were such a big story the first meeting between these squads. What a rejection! Cherry from the weak side. Cardenas pulls, front iron it off. Buchanan the O-board. Cardenas zooms, gets it to the paint. His runner goes off.
Well, finally, UNLV able to corral that rebound. Chance to play for the last shot of the half.
Feels like they survived that defensive possession more than anything else. Coach Kruger timeout. Last possession of the half for UNLV. UNLV takes a timeout to set up their final offensive possession.
I was a little surprised with that timeout, simply for the fact that it allows Boise State to talk amongst themselves what their defensive plan may be, but they also were able to substitute Degenhart out, who's got one foul. If they could have somehow pinned a second on him going into halftime, that would have been important.
14-1 when leading at the half, and barring something absolutely nuts, they'll have the lead after the first 20 minutes of this one. You mentioned it. They get Tyson Degenhart out to save him the chance of picking up a foul. Didon Thomas, he's used to having the ball in his hands, late clock situations, especially late in games. DJ Thomas flies, lobs! Cherry with an exclamation point on a stellar opening half. And it's a 4-point game at the break. So the timeout works for Coach Kruger.
I guess I can't second guess that timeout when you get a result like this. Thomas in the pick and roll. Cherry with the finish over the top. He has been spectacular in this first half. 13 points, nearly perfect, 6 of 7 from the field.
Cherry a game-high 13 points. Boise State leads 33-29. After the break, we'll send you back to Brent Stover and the gang in our New York studios. It's AT&T at the half. They're watching college basketball on CBS Sports Network. Late night in Vegas. A lot of twists and turns in this game still to come. Boise State leads by 4. Tyson Degenhart has showed out so far.
A really nice first half, 10 points. He just takes what the defense gives you. You're playing him soft. He's going to shoot the three. If he's got a mismatch, he walks it up the lane for the over-the-top, high-low. But UNLV, Jeremiah Cherry started off with establishing an inside presence and finished it off with an inside presence.
Take a look at the stats in a half that had 6 lead changes and 5 ties. UNLV trying to get it going from 3. Chris Lewis, Dan Dick out here in Vegas. So what do you have your eye on in this second half?
Well, I think for UNLV, you look at Jalen Bedford and Barry Cherry, they were terrific in that first half and combined 10 of 14 from the field. The rest of the team, 3 of 20. So they got to get help in particular from Didon Thomas. And then if you're Boise State, Cardenas didn't shoot it great. He turned it over. They didn't get into offense as well as they would like, but Degenhart needs some help. He had 10 points in that first half. Someone else has got to step up and make shots here in the second if they're going to prevail on the road.
That was your key to the game at the top on the Boise State side. All right, you get the Degenhart production and Cardenas. You almost take those for granted, but who's that next scorer up, joining Buchanan as well to help boost Boise State's? Low scoring first half overall. Both teams shooting below 40%. Starters on the floor to begin half number 2. Including Emmanuel Ugbo, limited minutes. Usually starts, plays the first couple of minutes of each half, and then comes to the bench. Alvaro Cardenas from the corner hits his second 3 of this game. Boise State by 7. Their largest lead of this game was 8. Couple of jabs from the corner. 2 go to the ball, leaving open Hill. Shot clock at just 7. Matched up against Meadow. Spins inside. Meadow straight up.
Great job being vertical from Meadow. Boise State's staff does a really good job of teaching that. Contest without fouling.
Ugbo around and out.
He wanted to feel as if he was part of the game. You know, the first 2 minutes, 43 seconds. Started the second. He's going to make sure he gets his money worth.
Smart man. If you know you're coming out in 2 minutes, anyway, no matter what, right?
Yeah, you got to give yourself a chance to get in the scorebook.
Ugbo still scoreless in this one. A couple of rebounds. Cardenas has an opening. Drop off. Degenhart lays it in.
Unselfish from your point guard. Love to see it. And that's one of the ways that, as a point guard, you build trust in your teammates. Is you could have the easy 2 yourself, but you're going to give it up and allow someone else to get that bucket.
Rishwain tried to sneak it off the glass. Kane rips it away. Sticky hands to wrestle it from Cherry. And Cardenas is fouled by Jalen Hill. Cardenas shrugs.
Cardenas attacks in the pick and roll. Nobody cracks down onto Degenhart. That's about as easy a bucket as he will get all night. Yeah, but how about that just rip away from Keene on Bear Cherry? I mean, Bear Cherry's 6'11", 280. I would imagine it should have been a lot more difficult than that.
I mean, would it be cliche to say took it from his bare hands? Okay. I'll end the night. Degenhart gets it back. Can't get a third chance. Rishwain holds him off. Thomas struggled from the floor in that first half. Just 1 for 7. As Henley's off from 3. UNLV 1 for 9 from distance. Blinding spin from Meadow. Tip that goes. Timeout, UNLV. As Boise State has their largest lead at 11.
Not the start UNLV wanted. 7-0 run for Boise State to kick things off in the second half. You don't convert on the first, stick with it. Andrew Meadow doing just that.
Boise State largest lead, and Alvaro Cardenas continues to climb up the single-season assist list in his first season with Boise State, now number 2 on the single-season list. On the other side, UNLV, it's only been 2.5 minutes in this second half, but it couldn't have gone any poorer for Coach Kruger.
Well, they didn't come out with that same level of intensity and energy here in the second that they did in the first half. I even made the comment in that first how energized they looked, and there was intent to their defensive rotations, and they were crisp on that end of the ball. Boise State has been the aggressor thus far. As evidence, an example was when R.J. Keene simply took away the ball from Bear Cherry.
That was stunning when we saw it. Henley front ironing off, and Keene right now is hunting that basketball. Transition, contact, and an offensive foul. Well, it's on Ugbo. And that shoulder has been bothering DJ Thomas.
That's a smart play by Thomas. to draw that foul running down the floor in defensive transition. I don't think it was anything intentional or deliberate from Ubo. That's just a smart play from Thomas.
Ubo remains in. Thomas has grabbed his shoulder a couple of times. The 19-year-old sophomore, last year, the all-conference caliber season as an 18-year-old freshman. It was incredible. The big-time shots he hit, the clutch moments, the ice in his veins at a young age. Hicks, ball fake, just too much.
He got to finish that one.
Still blanked so far in half two. Cardenas navigates, beautiful bounce pass. Ugbo on the receiving end. He has found the box score in the scoring column.
But the patience in the delivery from Cardenas.
Quick one and done for UNLV. Chance to break this open. Meadow. Degenhart tips, but grabbed by Hill.
Bedford in the game now for UNLV. It was a spark plug in that first half.
Tip up and in. Cherry, well, they say that ball was above the cylinder, yes. So offensive basket interference, and UNLV still without a point in the second half.
Is it offensive goaltending? When the ball's still on the rim and you give it a little tap, it is. We'll be back on the other side.
Friday, 9 Eastern, catch a college hockey top 20 showdown. Reigning NCAAM champions, number 6 Denver takes on number 12 Arizona State, right here on CBS Sports Network. And here at the Thomas and Mack Center, it is Vegas Golden Knights night. Kind of sound like I'm talking to a 5-year-old when I say night-night like that, or Steph Curry hit a game-clinching shot. By the way, the Golden Knights today, they took on the Islanders on the road. They lost 2-1, but still a great year for the Golden Knights so far. Came into today tied for first in the Pacific Division. See a lot of Golden Knights gear as a blackout. Golden Knights, one of their primary colors is black, so it's why UNLV is wearing their black today.
UNLV showing a little full court pressure. Got to find some way to get Boise State out of this rhythm that they've started the second half with.
Boise State 9-0 advantage so far at half two. Cardenas off the Degenhart screen. The DHO game hits the deck. No whistle at all. No travel, no foul. Degenhart against Njai. Late shot clock. Pivots. He was in the lane for 3 seconds.
Well, I kind of get that no call on Cardenas. You don't want to call a foul because it wasn't much, but it sure looked, we get another look at it, it's kind of slid. Yeah, I mean, that should have been a travel because it wouldn't have been a foul on a UNLV player. Should have been a travel. I think the fans have something to be griping about.
Other than the wayward shooting for UNLV in this half. In this game, they're just 1 of 9 from 3. Still haven't had any points so far in the second half. Degenhart wide right. One of the things that Coach Leon Rice told us before the game is he's never seen Degenhart take a bad shot. And part of it is he wants him to take some bad shots.
Yeah.
Because they need his offense. Sometimes a bad shot for him might be better than an okay shot for someone else.
Well, and as your team's best player, you know, many times you earn the right to take shots early in the shot clock that you're capable of making, or difficult shots. You know, he's just been coached so well from a young age that the most important thing to win is having good possession after good possession. But I agree with you. I think it would help if he were a little more selfish at times.
The interesting thing is he does have a chance to end his career as the Boise State all-time leading scorer. Just has to maybe pick up the scoring a little more aggressively, but that's not his style, not what he wants to do. Hill from the corner, off back rim, and the struggles in the second half continue.
Yeah, Boise State plays 10 more games, which would just be the first round of the Mountain West tournament, including tonight. He'd need to average 19 and a half a game if they were to make it all the way to the semis. He just has to average 16.1 points. That's pretty doable.
Held ball, and the arrow goes to UNLV. One of the things the crew mentioned at halftime with John Rothstein talking about Boise State is that potential bid stealer in the Mountain West this year. Might not have the resume as an at-large, unlikely. Still a lot of time, but a team that's more than capable of stringing together some wins on this floor at the conference tournament.
That big shot from Thomas has struggled tonight, but UNLV's got to get something going on the offensive end of the floor.
UNLV finally breaks the second half seal. We bring 2 to the ball against Cardenas. He'll likely find the open guy. Here's Meadow. Circus shots.
He is so smart in regards to when teams are closing out, he attacks in a straight line to the rim.
Bedford throws it away to the UNLV bench.
A good spacing on the perimeter. Keene skips it to Meadow. Out of position on the closeout is Thomas, and so that allows for a straight line drive to the rim where Meadow's able to convert.
Sharing the ball. Boise State averages 15 assists per game. 7 of them from Cardenas, and Knights puts it on a platter for Stanley. And he will head to the free throw line. During the month of February, CBS Sports celebrates Black history, recognizing its influence on culture and society. Julian Rishwing called for his 3rd foul. And Stanley at 67% this season from the line. We mentioned it as Bear Cherry comes in the first half, that perhaps the player that can vault Boise State to the spot that many expected. They were the preseason favorites in the Mountain West, as if Stanley can find that form from a season ago.
When you talk to Leon Rice at shoot-around, he's not overly concerned because he's seeing growth in the younger players. And he's seeing, the fact that the schedule comes back to them. They play at Utah State, Colorado State, New Mexico, all at home, where those 3 were on the road and lost all 3 in the first portion of league.
DJ Thomas, signature. And a chance for one more.
That's the DJ Thomas we got used to watching a season ago. Doesn't beat you with blinding speed, but he gets you with changing speeds, changing directions, and the skill level that he has.
And he never changes that expression on his face.
Yeah, he's calm and cool and collected.
Now 2 of 3 from the free throw line. Remember, UNLV trailed by as many as 12 points in the second half against Nevada last time out. Came back to tie that one with 1:17 left. They played a handful of close games down the stretch, final possessions, all Mountain West play long. Cardenas spins and has the soft touch.
Struggled from the field this evening, 2 of 8 before that one, but he's such a smart point guard. He understands those guys are going to play him to pass, but he can still score.
Javen Buchanan says no. Thomas wanted a foul. Cardenas, eyes up. Meadow. And Cardenas slows it down. Step back, corner, tough 3. Buchanan, first one to touch. Bear Cherry vacuums. Thomas will head to the line. Don't count the tip slam. Instead, it's Didon Thomas Jr. to shoot 2 up next. UNLV trying to hang in there against Coach Leon Rice in Boise State. We revisit visit the AT&T Fast Analysis is Degenhardt. Tough to stop.
Just a tremendous feel for the game. He takes what the defense gives you. You have a little on you. You walk the front up the lane for a high-low. Opportunity three when the defense doesn't close out, and then just making himself available off dribble drive opportunities from Cardenas.
This is his 8th game played against UNLV in his career. The prior 7, he is 6-1. Boise State has won 9 of the last 10 against the Runnin' Rebels. Boise State and San Diego State have been the most consistent teams in the Mountain West going back the last 6 years.
And this league is undervalued across the country. It was great to see him get 6 in the NCAA tournament a year ago, but year in and year out, yes, San Diego State and Boise State have competed for the title most of those years, but you look at Colorado State, they've had pros in David Roddy, Isaiah Stevens. You look at New Mexico has had some good years before the Paul Weir era, and now Richard Pitino has got them just like the Lobo teams of old.
Remember Alex Kirk and Cam Bairstow when they were doing their things at New Mexico. Them and San Diego State had some great battles here in the Thomas and Mack Center for the Mountain West Championship. Of course, can't forget about Utah State, no matter who the coach is.
Yeah.
They're always tough to beat. Great league. Clock down to 3. Buchanan. Mid-range is perfect. With a shot clock winding down and a bright smile for the Indiana native.
We really haven't had a chance to talk about him tonight because he hasn't scored, but you know, he's another one of those guys that's still getting used to Division I play and is only going to get better as the season wears on.
Thomas into double figures. He has 11, 4 of 12 shooting. Buchanan comes in off the Boise State bench, as you mentioned, Dan. Plays heavy minutes. Just a score at the NAIA level. Indiana Wesleyan. Bowie, healthy 3 off left. Almost halfway through the second half. UNLV outscored in this half 16-8. Off balance 3 goes off the back rim. Bedford can't get it to go, but UNLV will have another chance. The blinding speed, DJ Thomas.
Big timing for UNLV to get an extra opportunity with the offensive rebound leading to the Thomas floater.
They're starting to get a sense that he realizes he needs to take over offensively.
As we've talked about Degenhardt, just taking what the defense gives him. Thomas very similar as a point guard, which is rare with his youth to understand the game in that way.
Off the missed 3, here's UNLV. Rishwain dumps. Cherry fouled. Bear Cherry at 6'11" will head to the free throw line.
Shot clock winding down. Recognize, create just a little bit of space with that fadeaway. Another look at it from the top where you can see the shot clock winding down before Thomas. Shows you that runner again. His feel for such a young point guard to blend the scoring ability that he has with setting up into offense is really good. You know, the one thing I would like to see in regards to the growth of his career, and maybe he doesn't have the personnel around him at this time to really see it, if he does have it, is the ability to break down the defense and create for others. A lot of his assists right now comes just through your typical get into offense type of situations. Best point guards can create something for others out of nothing.
And I was going to say, you can maybe look to the other side. We have a great point guard matchup in this game. Sherry can't get that free throw to go. And how Cardenas goes about it and how he gets his teammates involved.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, you look at the two players. Cardenas 2 years older. You know, he was a 2-year starter at San Jose State. And he comes to a team now in Boise State that's got a lot of weapons, and he's able to find guys, make plays for them. With Bedford and Rishwain struggling from the field tonight, he hasn't necessarily been able to rack up the assists that he has on occasion throughout this year.
Thomas just tried to save that one by throwing it towards the rim. Yeah, a lot of rough shooting numbers across the lineup in this game for UNLV. Buchanan, shorts. Rebels getting some stops defensively. Quick attack, Jerry drop step, muscles through.
That's where they've been best throughout this evening. Him establishing low post presence and putting foul pressure on Degenhart, because he doesn't want to get in foul trouble because he is such a valuable part to Boise State's attack.
6 in a row for UNLV. It's down to 8. Degenhart screens for Cardenas. Gets it off the glass. Pinpoints for Alvaro Cardenas. And a timeout. Boise State.
Bear Cherry doing what he can to keep UNLV in the game. They're on a bit of a run, making this interesting.
Coming up next, head to the studio and get an in-depth look, highlights, analysis, everything that went down on a Tuesday in college hoops inside college basketball. And here at the Thomas & Mack Center, he's Dan Dickow. I'm Chris Lewis. So going big picture a little bit, what is catching your eye in a trend so far this season in college hoops?
Well, I think, we've talked about it constantly throughout broadcasts this year. The transfer portal has allowed a lot of teams to gain experience. And I think for the most part, it's leveled the playing field. There are a couple schools that are starting to separate themselves from the pack as far as being favorites. Auburn, Duke, maybe Alabama, to name a few. But I think this is shaping up to be a heck of a college basketball season.
No doubt. So we'll get their take in the studio after the game. To see Boise State this season, 11 wins, 10 or more points. Meanwhile, UNLV's had the heartbreaking losses on their side. Boise State comes in 7-4 in Mountain West play. UNLV 5-6. Cherry surrounded. A whistle before he makes the move. It is a tie-up. And the arrow belongs to Boise State.
But I like what they're doing coming out of timeouts. Continuing to go to Bear Cherry, who's been effective. But Meadow recognizes it early, attacks the ball, resulting in the jump ball.
Meadow wants 3. Around and out. Keene climb the ladder. Rishwain wins the battle. And Rishwain get going from the 3-point line. He's 0 for 5 in this game and 0 of 3 from 3. Instead, it is Thomas. Bodies into Keene. And we'll head back to the line. It'll be free throws 6 and 7.
Keene banged up. Took a couple hits. First, trying to get the offensive rebound. The second one, guarding Thomas in that isolation situation.
There's Boise State in this second half committing fouls. They're 6 already. And Thomas already 10 second half points. He only had 3 in the first.
He still looks as if he's in pain.
Nobody taking a look at him. Up to him to shake it off.
You're wearing a mask. You're good. You're tough.
San Diego State, he suffered that broken nose. Yeah, he had to be told to come out of the game because it started bleeding. He wasn't ready to come out of that game. Ended up missing the next one against UNLV in his team's first meeting.
Well, he's from Texas. Our terrific producer, Lance Barrow's also a Texan. I've been told you're from Texas, you're built a little different.
Built to last. Shot clock down to 5. It'll have to be Cardenas creating. Poked away. Keene Front iron, but Boise State secures the loose ball. Thrown away. Rishwin is fouled. Cardenas in the backcourts. Third on Cardenas. And that is the team's 7th, so the 1-1.
And with how physical this game has been, the fact that you're in the bonus when you yourself have only committed 2 fouls, that could be an advantage. UNLV to climb right back in this game and make it interesting down the stretch.
It really does feel like UNLV has found whatever they did in that first half at this middle part of the second half after losing it for the first part of half 2.
Yeah, that's going to be the natural ebbs and flows of a lot of games when you've got, teams that are kind of in the same position within the league standings. This league, and we've talked about it already tonight, how balanced it is and how difficult it is to win, in particular on the road. You look at a game the other night, Wyoming went on a 20-0 run at San Diego State to make it a 2-possession game with about 2 minutes left. San Diego State held on for the win, but, no lead in this league is safe.
See if that'll get Rishwin going. Talk about a team of run. San Diego State is that. They've had a couple of games this year that have fit that script. Whether it's the Air Force game or the San Jose State game that they had. Foul trouble on the Boise State side. Cardenas just picked up his 3rd. He remains in. Stanley with those 4 personals. Cardenas, they wanted to fall out, but he did just enough to get it to stay down. Degenhart pinches on Thomas, making him get rid of the ball, gets it back. Dumps it, Cherry, triple teams. Here's DJ. Foul again. Ugbo commits the foul on the landing.
Degenhart draws so much attention that your defender turns their head, as Hicks did. Cardenas' awareness allows him to make that 45-degree angle cut to the front of the rim, catch and finish. I mean, look at those numbers. I mean, just the consistency that he has had throughout this season. Top 10 in the country in assists per game. Scores it at right around 12 per game. If his team needs him to be a little more aggressive to score on a particular night, he's got the ability to do that. He rebounds well for a guard. Rarely does he turn it over, although he did have 7 turnovers in the loss at New Mexico. But I think a lot of that has to do with, Donovan Dent and how good he is. I mean, right now, in my eyes, and I know New Mexico fans might go after me for this because I left Donovan Dent out on a broadcast about 2 weeks ago. It's Degenhart, it's Dent, and probably Neek Clifford in a 3-man race for Player of the Year. And a lot of it's going to come down to which team ends up winning the league title.
There's a lot of great players in this league. One slips, it's a
yeah, that's true. Well, I'll throw myself under the bus. Last year, I had a broadcast for CBS Sports, and the producer asked me to name the 5 greatest Gonzaga players. I left Adam Morrison off the list.
Big-time steal. Brooklyn Hicks is UNLV clawing back in it. Down to a 5-point game. This is the closest that it's been since the start of the second half. Carmichael, peanut punch.
Wow. That's one thing that Leon Rice loves about him is he's a gamer. He wants to step up and take big shots. He's not shy of the moment. That's going to pay off down the road in his career.
And then Keene grabs the rebound. That was a big-time shot for Carmichael, who's only playing in his 8th game this year. Thought that they would redshirt him when Keene broke his nose, missed the first game against UNLV. Coach Leon Rice needed another rotation player. They decided to burn the red shirt for Carmichael and put him in that game. Guy who's been laying it up in practice.
Brooklyn Hicks, terrific job getting in the passing lanes. I don't know if he'll have that call to dunk by his teammates, but I'm sure he will try.
Trying to force it on the dunk board. Get the tally there. It can happen. Close enough. Reach. What a steal. Bedford. That one's clean.
That one's a clean flush. You're exactly right. Almost a carbon copy of Hicks' steal a possession or two ago. Gets this crowd into it. Boise State needs to have a good possession. I'd get the ball down low to Degenhardt.
Another steal. UNLV locking all windows and doors. Jalen Hill. Timeout, Broncos. We'll be back in 30 seconds. And Dan, what you said to me during the break, what happened?
I mean, 3 possessions essentially in a row where UNLV is able to come up with a steal and finish with a dunk. Jalen Bedford knocking it away from Pearson Carmichael leaves no doubt. And it has got this Thomas and Mack crowd rolling.
And then the third, Jalen Hill. It's almost like a quarterback that got stuck on an interception streak.
Yeah, Brooklyn Hicks started it off with the first, Bedford, and then Hill. So everybody's getting on the party on the defensive end of the floor now for UNLV.
The points off turnovers have become a significant story. And we should have known better. Right? UNLV is going to be in a close game. That has been the recipe. It's officially, by crunch time definitions, a crunch time game within 5, under 5.
Well, when you look at their last 4 games, which they've lost, 2 points to Wyoming, a tight one as well to New Mexico. Utah State, maybe the only one, even though it was 5 points, that they weren't quite in it down the stretch, and then Nevada by 6. So they've been in all these losses. They're just looking for something to get them over the hump.
How does Boise State respond? Out of the timeout, UNLV on a 17-7 run.
You got to get the ball to Cardenas and Degenhardt. They have been your stalwarts throughout this season.
Those two play catch. Cardenas. No. UNLV, a chance to pull within 1 possession. Hill got excited. Trapped. Escapes. Njai screens. Deon Thomas Jr. To the corner. Jalen Hill. Wasn't even close in a loose ball foul on UNLV.
That was a corner 3 that was about 4 feet towards the middle of the key. He's kind of chuckling about it. I don't know if I would be laughing about it. I'd be a little bit more frustrated. You get an open look like that in the middle of a run, you got to take advantage.
Yeah, Hill, that possession, so he bobbled the ball when he was nearly had an open lane, and then he got the ball in the corner and was off by a few feet on the 3. So he was fired up, maybe a little too much. Cardenas seeing bodies. Degenhardt rumbles and hits the floor. I'm going to say on the way up, he's going to get 2 free throws here when we return. It is time to get more with the Geico plays of the game, and UNLV getting back in it, but Degenhardt leads it off.
Well, he's been an opportunistic scorer. His only 2 points here in the second half was that last basket, but Jalen Hill, the steal, the dunk in transition has revitalized this Thomas and Mack crowd.
So before we stepped aside, a foul called on Deon Thomas. Coach Kevin Kruger wanted that to be a held ball. How? How was it a foul? Well, they called it a foul on Thomas, but during the break, they said it was a foul on the floor. The initial call was in the act of shooting. So instead of a couple of free throws, it'll be a baseline out of bounds.
UNLV spent a lot of time walking through Boise's baseline out of bounds sets. We'll see if they can sniff something out here, come up with a stop or maybe even a steal.
Buchanan flashes into the paint, doesn't get it. Degenhardt spins like a top and will head to the line.
That's the first time he's really gotten the ball in a position where he can be aggressive with it here over this last stretch. After that early bucket that we spotlighted in that last highlight package, which was a layup about 2 minutes into this half. He has had 0 points, so credit UNLV. They've done a really good job taking him out of the game here in the second half.
12 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists for Dagenhart. Preseason Mountain West Player of the Year. Boise State led this game by as many as 14 points. That was at the 11:23 mark of the second half. UNLV, 17-7 run. That's how they got back in this. Knows how to get to the line and can capitalize at an 81% clip. Spokane native hits both. There'll be a lot of Thomas the rest of the way for UNLV. Arm check with Cardenas. Between the legs dribble. Drop-off pass. Cherry uses the shoulder.
And because Cardenas has 3 fouls, he got out of the way there when Cherry received it down low. Definitely don't want to put him in a position where he's 1 away from a disqualification.
Teams that are right next to each other in the Mountain West standings, 5 and 6. Fouled by the logo.
That was one of the opportunities that I was talking about for growth in Thomas's game, is the dribble drive action to collapse the defense and then making plays for others. He showed it there. Cherry simply had to catch and finish.
Tough foul on Hill is second. Boise State in the 1-and-1, so Buchanan will shoot it. Njai, a couple of possessions ago, picked up the foul for UNLV. His 4th, the backup big. Front end, Buchanan.
If I'm UNLV, I would imagine the ball is going to be in Thomas's hands with a lot of pick and rolls over this last 3 minutes 13. Possibly with Cherry, and then if there's nothing early, then look to get Cherry involved on that low block because he's put together a heck of a night.
Coach Kruger brings in Rishwain, who's a shooter for Hicks. UNLV just 1 for 13. We were joking about their 3-point streak and how they extended it. Well, they double their makes. Not quite. Under 3 minutes to play. Dagenhart doubles. Cardenas thought about it, puts it on the deck, gets into the lane, deflected away, 8 to shoot.
It's amazing how defense can be contagious. As soon as that first steal in the passing lane led to a dunk, UNLV's been able to sustain the energy on this end of the floor. That was another example of flying around and help side, taking away opportunities.
Buchanan got it to rattle through. The NAIA transfer. Back to an 8-point Boise State lead. A game in which points have been hard to come by. Thomas off front rim, and guess who? Cardenas.
And if you're at UNLV, though, you're not in a position where you have to foul and put Boise State at the free throw line. Get a stop, make sure you convert, and finish it off with a rebound.
13 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists for the senior from Spain. Cardenas with 3 to shoot, deflected by Hill. Dagenhart gets it, knocked away with 1 to fire.
Big time shot from Javen Buchanan on the baseline. With the shot clock winding down, able to get it over the top of the converging help side defender. Officials, I believe,
on the floor is white
going to take a look at
under
it.
Review.
Make sure it is Boise State basketball. And if it is, probably take a look at the shot clock as well, as I would imagine.
Yeah, it looked like Dagenhart could have been the last to touch this.
Yeah, that looks like it's off Dagenhart. So for them to overturn it, though, they have to be completely certain that that is what they see. Oh, yeah. It's clearly should be UNLV basketball. I'm certain the officials will get this correct.
And a game that's been, let's be honest, tough to officiate. A lot of physical play, a lot of collisions. And, you always get the coaches complaining, but overall, these guys have kept this game moving.
I think it's been a well-officiated game in regards to, the physicality that you talked about. Bear Cherry for UNLV set the tone early by being a post presence. UNLV has sustained that through the last 10 minutes to get them back into position to make this interesting. But Boise State's difficult to officiate as well because they're physical. They crash the offensive glass with reckless abandon.
So you want to be sure at a couple of things. Possession, but you also brought up the clock. So whenever it takes a little bit longer than you would think, remember that they have to look at a couple of different things here.
Yeah, so if it clearly goes back to UNLV, which we both think it will be, now they've got to make sure that the game clock is correct. If it were going to be UNLV ball, they would check the game clock and the shot clock. So
the call on the floor is reversed. Black ball.
So you heard it there, UNLV ball. And I don't believe they've made any adjustments on the clock. The game clock still says $1:49.
If you're UNLV, you don't necessarily have to go quick, but you got to get into your offensive set, whatever it is. High pick and roll with Thomas or low post opportunity for Cherry, even though actually Cherry just checked out of the game with that last dead ball.
Have a smaller lineup here to spread the floor. Jalen Hill, pretty much the only forward in. Trapped, Degenhart slaps it away, gets the steal on Hicks. Boise State digs out the loose ball, and Buchanan will strut to the stripe as Boise State consult this away at the line.
Big time defensive possession from Degenhart to keep the much quicker Hicks in front. Walls up, and then is able to knock it free, resulting in possession Boise State.
Front end. This would be Boise State's best road win this year. Their other two road wins, less than 10 points against San Jose State and Wyoming.
Yeah, they had a couple missed opportunities. A neutral site game against Washington State. They've got a good win against Clemson. A good win against St. Mary's as well. But you're right, this being a true road game would be big.
Cherry goes up with it. Hits it over the front of the rim. Degenhart finds Buchanan. Boise State has turned it over 14 times in this game. No turnover there. Instead, Buchanan is fouled, and that is the 9th. So another 1-and-1 before the double bonus. Rishwain's 4th. Front end is off. All right, 3-possession game. Bedford yo-yos, probes, scoops. Boy, the front of the rim has been a little bit enlarged, it feels like, for UNLV. Can't get it over. And a foul with 49.7. That was a chance. Good look, close to the rim. But looking like another game of heartbreak for Coach Kevin Kruger. Boise State mentioned they have more of a favorable schedule in the second half of league play. Of course, the Mountain West, remember, their first year with a 20-game league slate.
When you look at that schedule, it does come back to them to a certain extent because of the upper tier in the standings, other than San Diego State, all of those games are at home.
Degenhart splits. 64-56. Last chance UNLV, and can't get a clean look at all. Boise State's defense on point, switching, rotating, tipping the pass. Key pumps his fist with 34.5. So UNLV, if they drop this one, be 11-12 and 5-7 in the Mountain West. Be their 5th straight loss. Remember, they started Mountain West play 3-0. A couple of big wins at San Diego State. Home against Utah State, 2 of the top teams in this league, but has since hit a rut. Hill is fouled, and he'll head to the line. UNLV, last time they made it to the NCAA tournament, you got to go back to 2013. Coach Kevin Kruger here in his 4th year wants to get UNLV back to that stage. And last year, this program took a great step. They made it to the postseason, lost in the 3rd round of the NIT. It was their first postseason win in 16 years. And then they brought back the igniter from that team last year in Thomas, who was the breakout player in the conference. But some close games have gone against his team since their hot start to conference play. Boise State's lead at 6, 64-58 with 29.7.
If you're Boise State, you've got to expect full court pressure. UNLV will probably try to steal the inbounds pass, maybe try to get a quick trap. If you don't get something that maybe creates an issue where you could get a steal on the second pass, you've got to be prepared to foul and put Boise State at the line.
All right, we did see, what was that Kansas Baylor game the other day where it's that crazy comeback right around this, like 6 points under 30 seconds. You think that this game's over? Not quite.
No, it's doable. Yeah. And that's one of the things that Kevin Kruger has the attention of his roster at that timeout. You've got to instill the belief that, look, it's still a 2-possession game. Quick gamble for a steal, get a trap, see if we can't create an opportunity. If not, then we still got a foul.
The press is on. Denying Cardenas. Finding Meadow. Wrapped up immediately. Not much time goes off the clock.
They almost had a 5-second count, did UNLV. Good job of denying the easy inbound pass.
Meadow is a good shooter, 85%. Lost the long hair, but still kept the long range on his shot. Officials discussing. Quick check at the time at the monitor. See if the clock started at all off that inbound. You have to have on a touch at least 0.3 go off. Did move.
It should be right at 29.2.
And Meadow hits.
And if you're Boise now, defensively, they've got a lineup out there that can switch everything, whether it's dribble handoffs or pick and rolls. Don't give a quick 2 or a dribble straight into a 3.
Keene adjusts the mask as he comes back in. Under 30 seconds to play. Thomas off the glass and in. 2-possession game.
Well, there's the quick 2 we talked about. You don't want to necessarily give up.
Degenhart. And he'll walk the floor.
With Degenhart being a good free throw shooter at 81%, it looks as if UNLV should be in the very same position they were a second ago after the 2 free throws from Meadow.
As a player, did you always like these situations when you had the lead and the other team had to foul? You can just like add to your scoring.
Yeah, I was just going to say, stat padding for sure. There's a big difference between averaging 17 a game and 18 a game, that's for sure.
Oh, but Degenhart leaves one at the line. Every point matters as Degenhardt chases the all-time scoring mark at Boise State. In fact, Tanaka Beer is number 1 on the list. A few years ago, at this point, probably closer to 6 or 7, Anthony Dremick was chasing that mark. Came within 5 points of the mark, but had to settle for second. Degenhardt does make it a 3-possession game. Off the glass goes Thomas, and UNLV calls time, so they call it extending the game, and we're seeing that in earnest. And if Boise State keeps leaving a point or two at the line, that is the recipe for UNLV to have a shot.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And the fact that both possessions, Thomas was able to get down the court and get a bucket without a lot of time going off. So if they can force a quick turnover, they can make this interesting in a hurry. And again, we get another look at Thomas just putting the ball on the deck, getting his shoulders by the defender and finishing over the top. He only had about 5.5, 6 seconds or so go off the clock. And if you're Kevin Kruger talking to your team right now, hey, we almost got a 5-second count on that last inbounds.
Yep.
Deny, try to push that catch away, and if you've got a chance to go for a steal, break on it. If not, be in a position to quickly foul and put them at the line. We saw Degenhardt, a really good free throw shooter, miss one a second ago.
UNLV had that stretch in the second half where they forced 3 consecutive really pick sixes. No, they have the ability to get a steal, force a turnover. Can they do it when they need it? Degenhardt gets loose. Quick bounce. They get Buchanan. This will be free throws, Dan. 29 and 30 for Boise State.
They've had a number of games this year where they have been really able to take advantage of a free throw differential. A lot of it is due to the fact that, you know, they play a lot of inside-out basketball with the threat of Degenhardt on the low post, but they also have an experienced point guard in Cardenas who understands when you get into the bonus how to manipulate the game.
And, of course, getting the bonus free throws here as UNLV extends the game, now 22 of 30 from the free throw line. Continue the offense-defense substitutions. UNLV without a timeout left. Henley, way short. Behind the back save, but it goes to Meadow. DJ Thomas fouls him, 5.8 left, and Boise State about to get a road win in Vegas. So be their first quad 2 win of the year as of now. Of course, that all can change with how teams move up and down the nets. Boise State came into this game 0-3 in quad 2. 2-3 in the first quadrant. Team that needed something to go well on the road. Back to back for Meadow. UNLV's last possession. Look from the corner is off, and Boise State gets a win on the road. Their third straight win overall. 71-62. They top UNLV. Ends what was a 3-game road losing streak. Mountain West standings, significant there. Boise State gains more separation, now 3 games clear of 6th place. The top 5 in the Mountain West get a bye in the first round of the Mountain West tournament right here at the Thomas and Mack Center. Tyson Degenhardt has 16 points to lead Boise State, 71-62 win. Coming up next, it is Inside College Basketball from New York. For Dan Dickow and our entire CBS crew, I'm Chris Lewis. Good night from Las Vegas. Inside College Basketball is coming up next. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, a 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Time to go back to and wide. And Brent Stover.